My name is Mark Iverson. I am the creative director at Neon Nights here at the film school, and it comes from a background of CG art back at TrueMax Academy and a whole bunch of other competences that I've grown up through just various studies. So our company doesn't have a name yet, essentially because this is a graduation project and also a kind of a meetup of other students' projects as well. But if we were to be called something, it would probably be called Reinnovate, because we have to reinvent everything that's been made before. The project is called I Dream of Neon Nights. It is a virtual production / video game based upon capturing an actor's full performance and translating that to an animated character. The Neon Nights is a Nordic cyber noir set in Copenhagen 2079, where there's kind of been a kind of climate change is causing the Scandinavian regions to freeze, causing a lot of climate migrants to come in. This has caused a little bit of chaos in society, and in turn, a cyberpunk mentality. A corporation comes in with a cure-all, and they come with 3 cure-alls. They come with Raven Watch, which is their security and policing. They come with Automata, which is essentially we will automize everything, machinery, technology, and transportation. And they come with Valhalla Network, which is their neural net. Essentially a way to upload your consciousness into their cloud and be reprojected back as light. So where we're at right now is we're at the National Film School of Denmark, the Danske Film School. And we don't have to pay here, since it's part of my education to kind of find a team, and they give us the facilities here to work with. Part of our budget as well, given by the film school, is used to also buy licensing and that kind of stuff. They kind of open up to us most of the time. During holidays, they tend to force us out because, you know, we do need our holidays. And yeah, it's the facilities are great, and they give a lot of opportunity for us to kind of really go for what we want to do. Well, a typical day in a production at Neon Nights kind of starts with essentially me coming in and just preparing my day, trying to figure out what we're going to do, what's my goals for the day, and then relaying that to William, my project manager. And then as everyone comes in, I have a way of trying to, I don't have to keep too much hold of things. I like to have everyone kind of give their own ideas, give their own way of working, and then I come in for feedback and kind of push along. But essentially 9 to 4, every day, because people have work and it's a school project. All this started with my first project, my midterm project, which was a show called Marsbound, which was a 2D show made in Unreal Engine. And I was watching the voice actor do his voice lines, and I realized that he was moving a lot, and we had to kind of almost keep him in place as he was moving because he was getting too far away from the mic. And I realized the opportunity loss of not being able to capture all this. So it started with that idea, how to capture that motion, that all the essence of an actor.
Hvorfor gik du, far? Svar mig nu, for helvede! Undskyld, far.
Helena.
You will never understand! Never!
But it also became about the idea of where I am in the world and being set in Copenhagen. And it was actually during about exactly a year ago from now with the Light Festival, and I saw Copenhagen in the new light setting with all these neon and everything. So I was like, it's such a weird thing to think of Copenhagen as a cyberpunk city. And I thought that would be a really nice kind of contrast. So I decided to go with that. And then it just moved on for being what I felt in this world. And we made a prototype, me and 4 other people, over a course of 2 weeks in Unreal Engine, trying to, how do we kind of take these ideas and put them all into one project? And we managed to do that, and it turned out really well. And people were hopping on because of that the prototype that we did. And then it grew and grew and grew to a 6-month pre-production, just me and 2 artists just working on the world and all the concepts. And first he's a detective, now he's a transcender. What's a transcender? All these kind of ideas. And then up until pretty much after Christmas, which is 2020 now. The team came in and started growing, and we're keeping on growing. Some of the most rewarding things that I've had throughout these things personally for me is just seeing how many people just kind of jump on the project because it's so cool. You know, I never thought I would make a project as cool as Neon Nights, and even if it doesn't like 100% work out in the end, like it's still, I haven't had one person say this is a bad idea. And you always get this thing when people say it's a very ambitious project, but I want to hop on. Normally you get the opposite, and it's just been really rewarding to kind of give that space for people to jump onto. Other partners are investing all this time and effort onto this project, and it's just like, it's nice to know that people actually like it. It's not just, I'm here because you need me here, which is never the case. I need them more than anything else. So, yeah. So one of the biggest challenges with forming a team is twofold in terms of how do you get them on board in terms of your vision, and how do you also set an expectation to ambition, because this Neon Nights is a very highly ambitious project, and none of the processes have been done before, and a lot of the people that work with us haven't worked in these kind of processes before. So one way was to open up the opportunity that this is a place to learn and not necessarily to perform. And we decided to kind of play on that idea. So a lot of students are basing their bachelor's projects and their master's projects on this thing. Again, when William came along, my project manager, it just exponentially grew. He knew who to talk to, where to go, who to bring up, how to, I think what he said was, I bring him here, you keep him here, So that's how we grew, and we've grown from having 4 people on average to now we're about 35 on and off, rotating around, and that doesn't include our partners. And another note is basically not only is it about finding production members, but also one of my main things was finding partners, other startups that I see potential in creating a nice gaming foundation, which are, for example, Rigsters, who do the 3D scans, Amonet, who do virtual productions, and Rococo, who help us with the motion tracking, and kind of building this kind of conglomerate foundation of developers to make a game. In order to fund this project, it's mainly reliant on the budget that the film school gave us. We get given about 125,000 kroner to make this process. And then it really relies on just people's effort, willingness, and voluntary help. But also we open up to pratique and that kind of stuff. We have tried searching for other funding opportunities, and some of them have come a bit late, so we're trying to search for those opportunities again after this. So I get a lot of my inspiration from video games and film. Coming from the film school, they always ask me, do you want to make games or do you want to make films? I always said I want to do both, hence why everything I do is always in real time. I take a lot of love for Hideo Kojima, mainly his worlds, not necessarily everything about Hideo Kojima, but I like the fact that he takes risks. And I also, which is kind of a weird thing for a director to say, that I take a lot of stuff from business. So how this can sell, not just what I want to create. So the Nordic Noir is because there's a need for more Nordic Noirs, and I just want more sci-fi, so slap it together, you get a cyber Nordic Noir. And yeah, so like, it comes from everywhere, and it's hard to kind of determine. But a lot of the stuff comes from ideas that I give to the team and what they give back with those ideas. And that's what keeps me excited most of the time. So this could be the first time I would officially work with motion capture. I have worked with it before, mainly that I teach motion capture, I give workshops in it, but in this entire setting, it's a bit challenging. Not only are we doing motion capture, but we're doing full virtual performance. So that means we're capturing the face, we're capturing dialogue, we're capturing performance all at the same time. And we need to kind of sync it all up for our virtual production settings. That may seem like a lot of work, but at the same time for me, it opens up more creativity because I get to play a lot more than just, the typical animation, which is just, calculate, then produce, right? And it's, I'm not that kind. I'm more of a Steven Spielberg and a Trier when it comes to feeling what I want to do, rather than, just committing too early. Motion capture can be difficult at times, mainly because the technology is new in Denmark, at least the one we're using. We're using Rococo from one of our partners. And they essentially have this really great setup, which is what's considered inside-out capture, which means we're not reliant on a room filled with cameras and a studio set up to do it. We can just put them in the suit and do it anywhere, which also means that you get physicality out of it too. It's still a startup, which means it still has a lot of, difficulties, but they're really, really open to that, of just working with us and helping us out. What I want from the motion capture, what our main focus in the motion capture here with any performance capture is to get us 80% there, right? Because that 80% is the hardest and the most tedious work when it comes to animation or any kind of production. So if we can get 80% there, then the production team can spend that 20% having fun and adding that charm, adding that personality. And yeah, so we just use an entire array of, at least in this case, with Re-Innovation, we're hacking together some ideas and solutions, kind of building up from the spot again. So one of the benefits of motion capture is that I can actually give an anecdote for this. For one of my workshops that I taught, a typical animator in Denmark would do about 14 seconds a week. In Pixar would be about 1.7 seconds a week. And that's for that quality, that's for final quality. With Rococo, for example, with the students that I taught, they made 4 hours of animation in a day. Not all of it was 100% perfect, but still 4 hours of usable prototype animation was much more efficient. And just to get us tested and get something in there, in the project as quick as possible. Also because, for example, a game designer could just put on the suit and kind of give his animations he needed and just go straight in and start implementing it to play. And that's kind of the things we do here. We do it more of a pre-production sense, but we can pump out 4-minute pre-production scenes in half an hour with camera and everything, and just kind of see it before we commit to what it actually is about. The problems with trying to fit a movie or a cinematic experience and a game experience is that one is non-interactable and the other one is. And trying to find a balance in that has been quite difficult in the sense of what do we give the player and what do we let the player do it themselves. In this sense, what we're trying to go for is a more cinematic approach in terms of how we, it's called filmisfortelling, cinematic, where how we show it during these cutscenes is more filmic in traditional cutscenes, or some traditional cutscenes we see in a Danish production, a game production. But also, we're using actor scans as well. So the actor is actually playing themselves, so to say, in the game, which also creates this very filmic approach. Also the way we dialogue and we do performance. So it's pretty much like our process is film, but our outcome is game. The biggest technical challenge we had so far is syncing all this pipelines up. The idea of doing a virtual production, with recording all sets of performances, live linking into Unreal so I can see it in real time. But at the same time, the production team is also a separate production when it comes to making all the game assets and all kind of stuff. So it is this kind of, that's been a difficulty. It's mainly pipeline, which is actually the most fun stuff, I would say. But yeah, syncing up both virtual production and the traditional production at the same time. That's uber hard. So other challenges can include, for example, just bureaucracy. As in, we are in a film school, and we are a school, which means that we are tied to kind of go in a certain path or certain kind of way when we need to get something done. I don't think being a student has been a problem. I try and kind of portray myself more of a, this is a project and not necessarily my graduation project. The biggest challenges outside of technical challenges probably would just be time management and just basic communication, as every other production is. But since we're moving 35 people now, and like some are remote, some aren't remote, some we have different kind of timelines, time work schedules, it just becomes a big challenge for us to kind of organize it all. So that's just something that we will overcome. And like, how do you overcome it? You just go through it and you start kind of reflecting back and figure out your better solution next time. Why do I do this? Because I can. I think you can, why I do this, any director would probably say because I have a story to tell, or there's something to do, it is something that people need to know. And it's just, I think it's just more like, it is a little bit because I can, but more because I want to get into this field and I want to make my mark. I want to be different, but also be relatable in terms of the products I make. At the film school, I'm probably most known for being the most mainstream. I like things that work, I like things that sell, and I don't necessarily do things for art's sake. I think also the reason why I also do this was mainly because like I like creating opportunities. I like being able to, and I apologize to all vegans out there, but I like giving a cow for people to make their burgers or their anything with, right? It's more about, here's my world, what do you see in it? And that's pretty much why I like doing it. I like just giving those opportunities to people. So as of right now, we're in a stage of our development where we're aiming for our MVP, minimum viable product, but also starting up our tests for our virtual production. That includes all the motion capture and filming. It's what we need to do from then on is essentially just kind of take a look at what we got, take a look at the data we have and our MVP, and kind of say, this is how far we got in the past 2 months. What do we need to do from then on to kind of get to our going gold? But also, like, since this is a lot of first timers and people who haven't worked in the pipeline, it's a really great milestone to see, okay, what's our quality right now? Do we need to start scoping down, or do we have opportunity to dream bigger, right? So we're in that stage almost soon. Surprisingly, outside of this kind of production, I haven't met any challenges. I've actually met a lot of praise and at least excitement for the project, as in they're more interested to see how it goes. And you can't really tell the difference between like, ooh, that's nice, well, hope it goes well for you, or if it's actual, I sense it more as being pure excitement. I hear that we're a big talk at ITU and AUU right now, because apparently there's something in Neon Nights going around. But no, I have not felt any challenges apart from the fact that not enough people know about us yet. So the concept we're working on right now is you can call an essence of the main game. The goal isn't to make a full-on release game because of our limitations, production length, and also just production member length, especially for the game I want to make in the end of all this. So ideally right now we're set for PC and maybe console, but that's a whole other endeavor to even get that started. And I think, again, I'm just going to buy one egg before buying a whole basket and just throwing it on the ground because nothing works in the end. I'd rather make one mess. So we hope to release our prototype / concept / demo / teaser in around summer. That would be the best case, mainly because the project deadline is due in April. That was my PM there. Project's due in April. So we're hoping to kind of get a release out in summer to some form for everyone else to try it out too. So our plans when the game is done, at least in like the most idea plan you could ever think of, would be to kind of self-publish it, self-launch it into kind of green lighting on Steam. Again, I'm more focused on getting everyone to try it out and just see what we can do, rather than making something out of it, making some money or whatnot, because it's all about just showcasing talent, showcasing work, and just saying this is a concept that can be kind of brought up. So there is no kind of plan, no finalized plan on how we want to release this. We have no plans to market right now. I think mainly what we want to do is we want to try and just pitch the idea out to try and get more funding, because what I really want to do is start paying everyone who is here, because there are people who want to continue working and I want to continue working with them. So the first priority out of this is getting funding via Kickstarter, other Indiegogo, all that kind of stuff. Unreal mega grants is also a really fun one to do. So that's an opportunity there. But yeah, so marketing, not so much so, but funding, yes. As in, the competition that we have is not necessarily one with the rest of Copenhagen. I mean, we set ourselves up because we're trying to reach these kind of standards in terms of digital doubles and motion capture and face performance and all that kind of stuff. We already kind of set ourselves against the rest of the world, which is kind of scary. And so how I like to do it and how I like to cope with this, especially with the team, is to always remember and remind everyone else that if, for example, if God of War is at the peak of our mountain, what we're trying to do right now is to climb this mountain to see how far we can get. Because once we're gotten to the point where we can reach, we can at least look back and see, okay, well, what do we have and where can we go from now to kind of continue going up that peak, right? Because I'm not blind to the fact that I'm not, Montreal with $1 million. I'm just Mark with a dedicated team. Well, I mean, the project is called I Dream of Neon Nights, and it's a little bit of a play on my dream. It's kind of like it's an homage to Final Fantasy, being his Final Fantasy. But as in, the dream is to keep on working with this world, and the dream is actually to expand this world via licenses. So basically, there are a lot of people who are interested in the world itself, and I'm actually not closed. I'm more open, very, very open to, if someone wants to write a novel based in the world of Neon Nights, let them do it. If someone wants to make a comic book, let them do it. If someone wants to make another game in it, let them do it. Because I think it's just more interesting to open and expand this world via kind of like almost like a community-driven expansion, rather than just keeping it to my baby and myself. Because in turn, I can still make things just canon or legend like Star Wars. But yeah, I think my biggest dream for this one is just to establish a foundation and a set of rules for Neon Nights world that anyone can just pull from and make their own stuff from it.
Hi, and here we are. We're quarantined at home. The team is healthy. The team is also safe. There's been a couple of changes due to these events that have occurred. One of those changes is the fact that we've had to do a big cut to a lot of our content. Not that it's a huge problem. We still have that content. We still have that data. But the main thing was to refocus our project to make sure that we showcase this idea about how we can create this space that is both for the film and the games industry, to create cinematics, to create storytelling, and to drive it all with the actor. and that meant that we had to cut about 60% of our footage in order to focus all our efforts into our final scene. The team has moved back home, and it made a couple of problems or challenges that was a little bit harder to solve, mainly because we weren't driven logistically to be able to cater to working remotely because we were a school project. But also it was really important that the first 2 weeks of the quarantine was really kept for everyone to get used to the idea of being quarantined or self-isolation and getting them to adapt in a space that wasn't also on top of working on this pretty ambitious project. So after those 2 weeks, we decided to then kind of slowly bring everyone back in. We're using Google Suites and Discord to be able to communicate, as well as Zoom, obviously, like everyone else is using, to kind of hold our weekly meetings and our weekly sprints with each department. And progress has gone quite far, despite being remote. And it just shows that, for me at least, that we don't have to always be at the production room. Of course, it's always nice to be able to just tap someone on the shoulder, but it also creates quite a focus, which is really cool. There's been a lot of great progress throughout this quarantine period. The team hasn't been affected as much, not in terms of the project at least. We do have chats and have some talks here and there about how we are doing during this period. Some people can't work, for example, because our audio designer, for example, needs his audio studio to be able to work. So that's been quite of a challenge to try and make sure that we create that space, or give that space, or at least talk about how we can do it once we can find the available space. What does this mean for the future of the project? Well, I mean, like I was saying before, it's about refocusing and reimagining what this project we were making was trying to do. You know, we are trying and we are creating this basic product that showcases the process, a new process that is unique to Denmark, unique in Denmark, and can showcase the idea about how we can use our actors and how we can use our talent that we have in Denmark, both actors, filmmakers, cinematographers, and create awesome storytelling and create the idea of fast virtual productions. That was a goal, and that is still the goal for this for Neon Nights, at least this project of Neon Nights. And we'll see what happens in the future. I mean, my hope is to continue working on the IP, to continue working on a process after I graduate on July 3rd. My dream is also to share this process with the rest of the school, to make sure that they also have the opportunity to create interesting worlds, but also use their particular skills, their more traditional skills, at the same time. And that's what I hope to bring. Yeah. I hope so, at least. Well, this has been Quarantine with Mark. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you on the flip side. Stay safe, keep your hands washed, and thank you.
Erase me! Delete me! End my fucking life if I'm just a program
Give me back
to
my
you!
grip.
I'm stuck with your miserable fucking head! I guide us home when you're drunk off your ass! I live through every shitty memory and nightmare you have!
Hvorfor gik du?
Elena.
Fuck!